Has anyone checked that Mike Ashley's actually okay? After what seemed like a typical Newcastle United summer and transfer window, scraping around for loan signings, all of a sudden Steve Bruce has somehow managed to persuade his boss to actually spend some cash on several different players. Now, apart from the free signing of Jeff Hendrick, none of these deals have yet been completed, and as we know with Ashley, do not count your chickens before they hatch. That dreaded line of couldn't get it over the line has been one we've heard far too often, repeatedly over the last 13 years of Ashley's tenure. However, I'm kind of going to ignore what I've just said because certainly in the case of Callum Wilson, it does appear that Bournemouth's 28-year-old striker is going to head to Newcastle United, and even better than that, we've actually beaten off some competition. Amazing scenes. As we all know, a striker was top of our list of needs this summer. Last season the team scored just 38 Premier League goals, 1 per game on average. Our number 9 scored 2 goals and our top scorer in the league was Shelvey, who only managed 6 strikes. Essentially, we have a group of forwards that you can't rely on for one reason or another, whether that be fitness or the inability to actually finish. So what will Callum Wilson bring to the team? Well, firstly, he's an out-and-out striker, something that Joe Linton definitely isn't, despite being played repeatedly there as a lone striker by Steve Bruce. Wilson has scored 41 Premier League goals in 141 appearances. 126 of those appearances have been starts. That puts his average strike rate around the 1 in 3 mark, which for a team in our position is to be welcomed. He's also a player who covers a lot of ground and drops back to work for his team. Again, something that we absolutely need. Overall, this is a really promising signing and one that I wasn't sure the powers that be at Newcastle would be able to pull off. Hopefully they do get this one over the line. And just to add to this, it's a £20 million fee for Callum Wilson, a straight fee. Matt Ritchie's not part of this deal, which will please a lot of people. I know there was a bit of a debate about Ritchie leaving. For me, keeping Ritchie is an absolute bonus because I think he's great in the dressing room. He's a great player to have around the squad and the team, and when he does play he absolutely works his socks off. His work rate's phenomenal. We know he's not the best player, most talented player in the world, but I still think he can do a job for Newcastle. Now, another area of weakness is left back, and the addition of Jamal Lewis for £13.5 million from Norwich is one that actually really excites me. Obviously, playing for Norwich City last season wasn't an easy task. They were easily the worst team in the league and were relegated first by some margin. But Lewis still had some solid performances, and the season before that, as Norwich were promoted from the Championship, he was actually named in the Championship Team of the Year. To me, this looks like a great bit of business for a quality young left-back that could develop into a really top-draw player. It also looks like free agent Ryan Fraser, also formerly of Bournemouth, will be heading to St James's Park too. The 26-year-old Scot plays predominantly down the left-hand side, despite actually being right-footed. He's very creative, and in the 18-19 season, he registered 14 assists and 7 goals and actually was linked to Arsenal for a while. Something I've been banging on about for a while now is that we need a squad who share the goals more, and Fraser looks like he's the kind of player who might be able to do that. Again, for a free option, we could be getting a bit of a gem here if he can stay fit, which is the one red flag against his name. Steve Bruce has clearly targeted British players with Premier League experience this summer, and if these signings do all come off, then I really do think that we'll have done some really good business. The debate has already begun about why Ashley has decided to back Steve Bruce when he wouldn't back Rafa Benitez in the same way, but I think the reason is pretty simple, to be honest. Ashley knows he cannot afford for Newcastle United to be relegated again. Despite what some think, it is obvious that Ashley finally does want to let go of the club, and the only way he'll get close to his £300 million valuation is if Newcastle United remain a Premier League football club. In order for that to happen, reinforcements are absolutely essential, and let's be honest, overdue. To give Bruce his credit where it's due, he has identified and targeted the weak areas of the squad and found decent players to fill those gaps, and actually add a bit of much needed depth to the squad too. Depth is an important point here because this curtailed Premier League season that is about to begin will see the most demanding schedule teams have ever had to face. In short, we will need to rely on more players as injuries and suspensions happen throughout the season. But I do have a couple of questions to leave you pondering over that may add a touch of reality to this situation. Number 1, do you trust Steve Bruce to find a system and formation that allows for the team to be more exciting and creative this season? And number 2, will we be allowed to keep our star players, or will any of them be sold before the transfer window shuts in October? With Mike Ashley as owner, you just never know if he's going to sell one of your best players. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, please hit the like button and consider subscribing too if you haven't already. And I will see you really soon for another video.